Now, in our second segment this morning, every year on 27th September, the world commemorates World Tourism Day. The day is to promote tourism, fostering global economic growth, cultural exchanges, cultural growth, and sustainable development, which is the corner of the world. Also aimed at spreading awareness and highlighting social, economic, and environmental benefits and the international understanding of peace and cooperation through tourism, on the theme for this year, which is tourism and peace. Now, President Bill, in one of his speeches, said of reaching goal of instituting a robust culture of domestic tourism in Sierra Leone is to build the bedrock on which tourism in Sierra Leone can flourish and deliver its benefits of economic diversification, prosperity, social cohesion, and tolerance. Also, prioritizing of the tourism sector is a key enabler in the 2024 to 2030 national medium-term development agenda, and has escalated the pressure for the sector to deliver, tailoring tourism into the Big Five: feed, salon, human capital development, youth employment scheme, revamping the public service architecture, and tech and infrastructure in pathway to achieve sustainable and radical social economic transformation. And so this morning, to discuss all of these and ways to improve our tourism sector in Sierra Leone, we've been joined by Dr. Kadijahtu Kamara, Deputy Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure having you here. Permit me to ask, you see, I would not ordinarily progress without asking this. Of course, I'm sure you're aware that the beaches are an eyesore at the moment, littered with sorghum, seaweed, which has been a perennial problem in Sierra Leone and would not seem to have gotten a solution to solve it. What's happening?
Well, it's not just, thank you for that question, it's not just a Sierra Leone problem. This is a global problem. Seaweed is a natural cause, and this is its season. The only problem with us here is we have not found yet a sustainable way of keeping it offshores. In other countries, developed countries, when you go to them, they already have infrastructural plan put in place to trap that seaweed right from the sea before it comes onshore. The struggle with us in Sierra Leone is we don't have that yet. And so that's why you are experiencing so much seaweed. And of course, with climate change, the rains were heavy this year. And so there was a lot of that from prior years. And so that's the problem with the seaweed. There's not very much we can do about it, but I promise you the Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs is doing its best to make sure that we come up with a sustainable way of cleaning, keeping the seaweed off the shores of the beach, and turn them into, if not fertilizers for feed salon, we can also turn these into bricks. And so what is needed is to put our manpower together to build that machine that is able to create the human capital development job and employment scheme that you just talked about. And so this is something that's in the plan already. And so if the nation is to bear with us a little bit, as you know, tourism business, not all-man business. Rome was not built in a day, and so we'll get there.
In the same spirit of Rome was not built in a day, Sierra Leone has a lot of, touristic sites, beautiful landscapes and beaches. Why has the ministry struggled to, should I say, make these places radiant or more radiant than they are?
Well, the truth of the matter is, it is now that tourism has actually put on the garment of active promotion, rebuilding and rebranding who we are as a people, a country, and to showcase the beautiful lush lands that we have. And so what we're doing now, we've already identified these places. We are in the works of revamping the ministry, the sector itself. From there, we're able to find pivotal points and people that can be brand ambassadors that will help in promoting these spots. As you know, naturally, we don't really want to do too much with it. We want to keep it as natural as it can be, as raw as it can be, because that's what our tourists really want. That's what they look for. We don't want to over-refine it like the Western world. We want it as is, but keep it clean, neat, and have it be preserved for people to be able to accommodate there.
Well, one of the other arguments why, our tourism sector is not booming as other West African countries are is the lack of hospitality, hotels and lodging for people who do flock into Sierra Leone to enjoy these places. Are there plans to perhaps up the number of hotels, accommodations, particularly at sites where these places are located?
Yes, there are actually plans for us to make sure that we revamp the face fronts of these hotels. We're in talks with these hotel owners, and we're also in talks with private sectors that can come on board and erect new ones on the coastal lines of Freetown, not only Freetown, because tourism is not only based in Freetown, but across the country. One of the things that we've also focused on is making sure that there's a cross-board training of all hospitality staff. And if you know, the ministry has partnered with, we do have a hotel, 24-bedroom hotel university right by Kinhaman Road there, where people are being groomed and taught. So when they go into these establishments, customer service becomes top-notch, and the hotels are selling what is supposed to be selling, having the minimum standard of what a hotel should look like, especially for a country like Sierra Leone that has so much to offer.
As we talk about tourism, talking about movement of people enjoying themselves in maybe outside their usual environment, there's also an opportunity to learn about cultures of other people as well. But I'd like to start off with you because you do not disappoint. Every time you show up, there's something we could learn from, even the way you dress. I want to ask you firstly, what are you putting on?
So what I'm putting on is locally made, from the Gara tie-dyeing to the sewing of this fabric is locally made by a young lady. She doesn't have a store. She's just starting. She came to me and said, I can do X, Y, and Z. And I said, okay, try me. And I sketched out a design that I wanted. And I told her to do me a Gara that is not very common in the market. And so this is what she came up with. I did the sketching, told her that I wanted a different mix of Gara, and she did not disappoint. And so Marama, I love it. I am wearing it. What I'm carrying here, this is a handmade bead that was made with myself and the inmates, the female inmates in Sierra Leone. So this, you cannot find this anywhere in the world. Ghana tries it, but Sierra Leone has its own unique designs, and our colors, they don't disappoint. They pop like nothing. And so for me, I live, breathe, and eat Sierra Leone culture. That's who I am. And so I sell that, and thank His Excellency President Bio for putting me in this sector where I'm able to do what I love, and I'm able to make an impact and inspire the lives of those that are still aspiring to get to where some of us are.
Should become a pageant.
And of course, the tourism sector, fosters peace and understanding between nations and cultures. How far have we come with that?
To be honest with you, Sierra Leone has really come far. The ministry has done exceptionally well. I'd like to applaud our focal persons, Director Jallo, Mohamed Jallo, and Director Fode Jallo, who are our technical people that go out there and spreading the message. And most especially to the Honorable Minister Nabila Tunis that has rolled out the year-long campaign for us since we came into the ministry. What is happening now is we're not only doing the sensitization in Freetown, but then we're taking it up country. Just the day before yesterday, I spent 2 nights up country in Kenema, Makeni we slept, and then Magboka to celebrate the tourism, the International Tourism Day, which the theme is based on tourism and peace. In every country you find yourself, tourism is the face of that country. Tourism is what really drives the traffic into that country. And so what we are doing is we don't just want to drive in tourists from outside of Sierra Leone, but also sensitize the locals, which is domestic and ecotourism. making them understand the importance of our sector, how we all can collaboratively and cohesively work together in rebranding and rebuilding Sierra Leone culturally. If you notice, we have left and neglected our cultures. Some of us don't even know what our heritages are, which is a shame. But with the ministry now, and with that being one of my passions, to really have people embedded in who they are. Because I think for us to become one country, a great nation, we have to know where we come from, who we are, what are our core values, what do we stand on, what are our beliefs. And so for me, I carry the message of having that understanding that you are an African, you come from this place, these are our cultural norms. We cannot leave that. For us to become a great nation, we have to go back to the nitty-gritties of understanding, owning, living, breathing, eating, wearing, and talking about who we are. If we don't do that, then, I mean, we can talk about development all we want. We can talk about peace all we want. But then that derails us from getting us to where we need to be at, because we have left the basics of who we are.
And these basics, you know, it is known, of course, that we do have similar cultures and traditions. I mean, for most part of West Africa. Mm-hmm. How do we go back to tracing who we are when it comes to our cultures, our traditions and belief, even with regards the way we dress?
Thank you for that question. I am always really big on paying attention to our fathers. This is where the importance of legacy, maintenance, upholding our legacy comes into play. You have the people like Professor Joedi Ali, people like Dr. Julius Spencer, people like Raymond Papare de Susan George, and other phenomenal female that know our history. We need to bring these people back, whether in person or on camera, for them to leave, teach us, tell us what it used to be like. And so we now, the new generation, can take that and teach to the younger ones, implement it into schools, into communities, have staff, tourism staff everywhere in the country. Have an office where people can go and have these conversations and say, hey, we found this in 1960, so this chief lived here and this is what he was known for. In 1960 that, or 70 this, there was Ella Koblo Blahama, and this is what she did, and all of that stuff. It brings us together. It really brings us together. And one of the things that I am actually asking and begging that we have is to have a cultural heritage museum for storytelling, for people to go into these old archives and get our history, bring it back and teach it to us, the young ones.
Is the Ministry of Tourism working on that?
We are working on that. We have something, but like I said, there's just too much to do in the ministry. And so what we are focusing on now is to make sure that the word of tourism and culture is heard in every ear in the country, and for them to have an understanding that we're coming to them and this is what we're bringing to them. From there, then we're able to now, because this is the festive season, it's going to be busy. After that, maybe in the New Year's, then we'll start putting these archives together. But we've started it. We had a session, 1 hour each session with these legends that I have just called their names at the ministry, for them to tell us what they know, what they've experienced, and what they feel, you know, Sierra Leone will be like if we embed our cultural heritage back.
And just last year, 2023, Forbes listed Freetown, Sierra Leone as a tourist destination. The article was titled Alternative Africa. Freetown should be on your bucket list. Now, we didn't maintain that spot.
Now, you know, one can only give what they have and know. And so I don't dwell in the realm of pointing fingers, but I think we're getting back there. Why? Because yes, it was said, it was featured, it's good and great for us, and I hope we had maintained it. But again, like I said, there has to be an intentional infrastructural plan, segmentalized, that we are going to uphold and maintain this. We are going to work on this. We are going to be doing that. And everybody knows where they are at. Now, Sierra Leone, we only focus on one thing and everybody's driving towards that. And then we forget other important things. Sierra Leone sells itself if you and I can brand it well. Really. There's no much promotion that is needed other than the country itself, the people itself, promoting and branding it. So that is why we probably lost that spot. When you think of big-time chefs in the world, we have Maria Bradford. She's top-notch in the world. When you talk about people in entertainment, you know, we have one of our own who is Idris Elba, and if we go back, there are lots of other people that we don't even know that traces their heritage back to Sierra Leone. We can use all of these to our advantages, but then we haven't gotten there yet. Like I said, Rome was not built in a day. With baby steps, we're creeping and we're getting there. It might please you to know that as we speak, the minister is out reaching out to other ministers in bringing for the first time in the history of Sierra Leone to bring all the women, thought world trailblazing women into this country to speak on the Congress from October 29th to the 31st of October 2024 on women in tourism. That's a big deal for us. It puts us out there. It changes the narratives, the trajectory that has been put out there. And so we as a ministry are looking forward to that. And that is just for me to drop, you know, the ball that there's something big coming, and that will take us back to your concern.
Quickly before Jones comes in, when we talk about tourism and peace, we wouldn't also leave behind our environment, our attitude towards maybe some natural causes and the likes. And people would also visit maybe a country table, which might also be maybe a contributing factor to why we would lose a spot like that on the Forbes list. How do you think tourism as well contributes to peace in Sierra Leone?
Like I said, without peace, tourism cannot exist. And so these two go hand in hand. Sierra Leone has done pretty well in terms of maintaining its peace from the days of war until now. Yes, we've had few fracas here and there, but that's life. Today is guaranteed that tomorrow is not. You can have one plan today and another completely comes up tomorrow. What needs to be done is, or what we are doing is to maintain that peace in everything that we do. And so that is why when we do any of these year-long campaigns in the district, in Freetown, or even on social media, we make sure we let the public know that the tourism and the peace go hand in hand. Without that, it will not happen. And so we focus on the men, the women, the youth, letting them understand that you can peacefully live together, build together, grow together, and become one in unison. That is one thing that tourists would look for. They're not just looking for tranquility, beauty of a land, or clean sand. They're also looking for spirituality. They're also looking for comfort. They're also looking for peace of mind. And Sierra Leone has all of these to offer. Like I said, the only thing that's lacking is letting the people, the public of Sierra Leone know that they are all tourism business. They matter. Their concerns, their views, their feedbacks all matter. All these can come into play, and let them know that they are all brand ambassadors in sending the word of tourism and peace, and it starts at home. As we normally will say, charity begins at home. And so like in Kenema, what I was talking to them about when we were doing the Tourism for Peace campaign is tourism starts at your house. You're the head of the home. You have a wife, you have 2 or 3 children or more. You start from having one, a peaceful home, 2, a clean environment. You can plant flowers in front of your home, keep it beautiful. Keep your compound clean. When your neighbor sees it, one of the unique things about us, Sierra Leone, we're good at copying. Once Pat Thomas does it, God Joseph is going to do it. Mamusu is going to do it. Before you know it, it's a chain reaction. And unconsciously, everybody in that area, that community, is having the same thing. Now, that's where the unison and peace and tourism comes into play.
I spent my evening reading statistics from the World Bank and the United Nations World Tourism Organization. And for instance, I learned that Nigeria makes about $1.3 billion annually from tourism, next to, Ghana, which is even better at $3.4 billion, Cote d'Ivoire, $350 million, Senegal, $750 million, the Gambia, $200 million, Cape Verde, $520 million, well, Sierra Leone, $33 million. Now, Liberia, which is slightly below at $25 million, and Togo, $45 million. We are losing a lot of such huge revenues that all these other countries, like, for instance, Ghana, and let's say even Egypt, are making on an annual basis. What two major factors do you think is responsible for our sluggish growth in this regard?
Like I said, tourism has just put on the garment of awareness and promotion. And I will not be the one to point fingers, but what can help us get there? If we can also mimic what they are doing, which is paying attention to culture. Culture is where money is. Yes, tourism can bring in the tourists, but then for how long? But our cultural festivals, food festivals, local content festivals, these things, and inviting the international body to come and participate is what really generates the income. There's a lot that we can gain and benefit from the cultural aspect, but that sector is still creeping and crawling, but it's a work in progress. Like I said, this year, we've really taken this year to pay attention and understand how the ministry has been running, how we want it to run. And so come next year, it's going to be all hands on deck in making sure that we're able to meet and pass the threshold of our budget.
I'm glad you talked about festivals, because we've had our lantern parade snipped off, maybe now local masquerades, the famous paddle, which a lot of people danced in the past. These are ceremonies, or should I say, festivities that were attracting huge chunk of crowd into Sierra Leone. And by the way, the tourism sector was being boomed at the time. But since they were snipped off, not much is being seen. Do we have plans to revitalize, particularly so, our lantern parades, which is typically steeped into our history?
Most definitely. We do have plans on that, but I cannot say much on that as we have not confirmed. It was not the ministry that snipped it off. Yeah. It came from higher office, and so we have to respect that and just come up with more tangible reasons as to why it should be brought back. And once it's brought back, for it to be safe for our people, not that it has not been safe, for it to be more of security reasons and other things. And so we are in the talks of bringing that back. I as well look forward to experiencing it, because it will be my first time experiencing it.
You've missed quite a lot, actually.
Yes, I have. Not only the lanterns and the paddles, we also do have fine talents across the country that we are hoping to bring together, where we can do Sierra Leone Regional Cultural Festival, where we can choose a spot, maybe have people get out of the city and go into the provinces and get stuff done, experience real culture, and take family members, like the Luma festivals, the Africana Luma festivals. All of these things are things that we are planning to bring back. And so wait and see what unfolds this festive season.
I wait with eager eyes and ears to see and hear. But in the meantime, I want to talk about something that perhaps we all have overlooked over time. Not much attention has been paid to that. That is branding and packaging of the tourism industry. When you type on the internet, not much videos do emerge, about Sierra Leone and our touristic sites. As beautiful as they are, they are under the wraps. Now, you earlier spoke about a man like, for instance, Idris Elba, who is a Hollywood icon, a man who could indeed singularly, transform our tourism sector. Have you ever thought about engaging in international branding for Sierra Leone?
Well, not me personally, but I do believe the Honorable Minister has done that. There are other people that we've talked to, footballers. There are other people that we've talked to that are into the culinary sector. There are other people that we've talked about that are into the entertainment, local entertainment sector. And like I said, wait and see. There's something that is being cooked. This is not one pot. It's not pema hui, put on tap. So that is also in the works.
This year's World Tourism Day is themed, tourism and peace. How does the ministry view the role of tourism, in uniting a politically fractious country like Sierra Leone?
There's so much about Sierra Leone. When you think and hear the stories of what Sierra Leone used to be, when you think and see what's happening now, and when you envisage what is to come, it's going to be a volcanic reaction. When you talk about peace and tourism, when you go to other countries, you don't get as much peace as you get in Sierra Leone. There's not more you can get from what already is in Sierra Leone. I went to Magboka and I experienced the actual theme of tourism, peace. I watched the people celebrated their daughter. They call her Mary B. She's an entertainer, a musician. She sings in their local dialect, which is Timini. When they say Mary B is stepping out and going over there, the whole Magboroka goes with her. Imagine if we can mimic such habit around, what Sierra Leone would be like in terms of celebration, the peace that we talk about, cohesiveness, togetherness. What we need is all of us to have the same mindset of rebranding and development. If we are all on the same page and have that same mindset, if not 100%, but halfway there, trust me, half of these conversation of what our challenges are will not be. Because we really, literally have all it takes to make these things happen for us. But it's the mindset that's derailing us from getting there.
From my experience as well, as someone who has traveled a bit, I've observed nearly in all of the countries that I've visited that one major driver of tourism is local singing, their national theaters. Now, when you go to Egypt, the Cairo Orchestra Center is there. If you go to Nigeria, they have the National Theatre. The same for Ghana, which is stationed in Accra. We have the group Harmonious Chorale, which is quite famous in the world for singing and magneting a lot of people around the world, particularly in December for their Christmas performances. In Sierra Leone, all of these things are lacking. Perhaps you could, in a way, thought about this for a while and strategize as a ministry of, we have vast lands, it doesn't necessarily need to be in the city. We can find a very vast land and build a national theatre for once. I remember, I'm not quite sure, while I was at the Balanta Academy, that talks were, ongoing about, creating a national theatre, but that just died naturally.
Well, we do have few, which is not, we have Dr. Spencer doing few. There has been, from myself, a local sound, a call of peace, the ancestors of peace. It's like an anthem where, if you follow me, everywhere I go, that is what I sing first to grab the attention of the people, to bring them into that one house.
You are singer too.
I try.
Okay.
And so we do that, and I'm glad you brought that up, because in the next 2 weeks, there's actually going to be that audio dropped out for it to become a common anthem, a traditional call for all, a call of peace from the Ministry of Tourism.
And you are the artist?
Myself and others.
You're the leading vocalist?
You will hear it when you hear it. And so it's, for me, it has created so much impact that wherever we go, once we echo that sound, people are like, wow, this is something, how come we never thought about this? There has to be something that we're known for. And that call is about to be that.
But
really.
Nothing about the theater.
Theater. There's not much going on with it right now.
Okay.
And I wish there would be, because this is the only way we can tell our stories. This is the only way we can share our stories. And so I believe through this interview, that has ignited a concern where we can have, talents come up, which we already have, to say, I want to be part of the tourism industry theater group.
Right.
As we talk about tourism in Sierra Leone, I think most often we also try to call out to citizens to embrace tourism. I want to ask from the point of government as well, how far are government officials willing to ensure that tourism is something we embrace?
Well, we've gone really far where we do have a medium-term plan that has been rolled out, that was launched by the Honorable Vice President months back, where we had all MDAs, ministers came to support. That is just to tell you that we're serious about this, and it is all hands on deck. As tourism business, not all man business, and so it is of great importance, just as every other sector, from the finance to the health to the feed salon. Tourism, if not the most important, it is as important as all of these. So everybody is hands-on on it, and all these other ministers, I promise you, they look forward to collaborating, because tourism cuts across. It's a ministry that collaborates with every other ministry out there. And so we are all working together to making sure that this one message is passed.
The last time we hosted Alimatu Farrakhan Sise, she's into movie. She does movie production. She has her own company, and of course, she's an actress. She mentioned the concern, when it comes to maybe entertainers like herself, and she talked about maybe having some endorsements from particularly the Ministry of Tourism with regards different entertainers, their projects and the likes. Is that anything the ministry can work on?
It is always there. The ministry is always open for that. But then, some individuals will make concerns, but they've never reached out. They've never even registered with the ministry. And so some of the time, if not all the time, the ministry is not even in the know that this person exists, they are doing this and that. And so, like I said, we should not be in the realm of pointing fingers. We should be in the realm of being accountable, being present, and taking responsibilities of our actions. And so this is the first time I'm hearing her name, and I'm just all over the place when it comes to entertainment, culture, and stuff. This is the first time I'm hearing her name. I am glad that she's into that sector, and I'm sure she's doing phenomenally well there. But we are also sending an invite that she should officially come and have a sit down with the ministry and talk about her concerns, how she's able to add value to the ministry, how the ministry as well can add value to her. Because in life, You know, it's a hand go hand come thing. We then send what I use for Krobi back. We cannot just sit there and be complaining. If we do that, then we will never get to where we need to be at. What needs to be done now is now all hands on deck. Everybody come on board. This is what I have to offer, and then I take you to where you need to be for you to be able to offer that, and the ministry in return can offer you what is needed, which is the support, the endorsement, and whatnot that is being looked for.
And as we talk about the younger generation, because definitely that's the future, what are your interactions from the ministry with maybe school-going children? Do you have clubs in the school wherein they will be taught how to either interact with their environment or, you know, go back to their traditions or culture? Because imagine in most schools it's either English or French, and French is even optional. So we also have a lot we're losing through all these processes.
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, was it Thursday or Friday, I was at the girls' high school having a conversation with these fine ladies, where some of them said they aspire to be first ladies, some doctors and things like that. We played, we laughed, we cried, we talked, and we ended up having a conversation about what tourism is, what culture is, what is the importance of them knowing that they are the brand of the ministry, because they are the new life now, and they have these technologies, cell phones and iPads all over the place, where anything they see that's fascinating can be recorded. They can talk about their passions and different things like that, and put it out there, share with their friends, and have intercultural programs in these schools. I used to do it last year, but then we really got busy with the ministry as I took time to really understand and know my ministry, and so I took a break. But then I'm rolling that out again, where we go and do school tours, not only in Freetown, but take it to the provinces. As we go there, the ministry also is able to gift these schools and institutions that we enter. We provide clean water, which is donating a water filter that can last for about 10 years. So the ministry takes something as we take their time to sensitize them and make them understand that they're important, their value, their concerns are heard, and we can use their own innovative ideas to revamp the ministry.
How come we don't get to hear about this? I think for your next trip, you definitely have to go with the media.
Well, I would be glad. So we are looking forward to that sometime early next week. If not Tuesday, it will be Wednesday. But we always have to send letters out, and when they respond to us that it's okay for us to come, we go. But it was a fun. We have pictures and videos for the girls' high school. It was really, really emotional. It made me felt like, you know, and understood that tourism, you cannot just sit behind your desk. You have to be out there in the face of the people, in the face of the media, to tell people what's going on, what to expect, what's happening, and how we all can come up with a way of fixing the problem.
We're heading over to our Deputy Minister for her final comments. But just as a message here on our Facebook page, I would just like to read out from Ms. D. I sometimes wonder how comes we have not been able to take advantage of the wonderful opportunities that our country possesses in all aspects of life, from our natural resources, the beauty of our country, and in terms of culture. Sierra Leone is so unique in the sense that we have a mixture of every bit and piece of our diverse cultures. I see Sierra Leone like a grand junction where diverse cultures from the entire West Africa and beyond, and yet we don't seem to be making good of these rich heritage.
Of course, I do agree with him or her that Sierra Leone is a grand junction, and so I am pleading kindly, if he has any ideas as to how we can make this grand junction be known to the world, he should reach out to us. I'm always open to have a conversation. He can reach out to me at Kadijahtu Grace on either LinkedIn or Facebook.
What are we seeing next, briefly?
What are we singing?
Next.
What we're singing is we are currently in the planning, well, not in the planning, but putting everything together for the first ever Sierra Leone has ever experienced the Women in Tourism, where we'll have ministers from across Africa coming into Sierra Leone to have not only conversation on the development and empowerment of women in Sierra Leone, but also for us to be able to showcase to the world what Sierra Leone has to offer, for them to experience it firsthand. And so you see beautiful entertainment, our local foods, our traditional regalia from every district. There will be fashion designers, all kinds of things will be at that venue, which is at Bintumani, for us to experience what Sierra Leone women in tourism is all about.
All right, Doctor.
Before you go,
okay.
as I just want to ask, do you do regular monitoring of some of these spaces, you know, who get to deal with maybe tourists and the likes unannounced? Because oftentimes those who go ahead to give a review or maybe write an article, nobody would even expect they will be in Conti, but they do document these things. And these reviews are actually important.
It is very important, and I think we've done unannounced check, not as often. And that's something, thank you for bringing that up. That's something that I'll actively start doing, where we show up unannounced and have conversations, but not just have conversations, but also give them ideas as to how they can do it better. Like I said, some of these establishments, they try their level best. But then with the employees, we have a way of doing things in Sierra Leone. Sorry to say, it's a very lackadaisical way when we don't understand that the little facial expression, body language, tonation, and receiving a guest, it goes a long way. As they can say, first impression goes a long way. And so what we are really working on doing is to teach these hospitality staff across board, really, you know, what that looks like, first impression, you know, having the right conversation, welcoming anybody. You don't have to know that person, because here it's like we go by titles. And so we have to welcome everybody the same way we can welcome if you see a dignitary, because your job there is to be a customer service, and the customer is always right. Give them what is required of that establishment and let them be as nice as they can. We're already nice, but then because of the front we put up, we send a very negative message out there, and that's what these people first experience, and that's what they share out there.
Dr. Kadijahtu Kamara, Deputy Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, thank you very much indeed for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.